Hi, everybody. My name's Jaime Meyer. I'm a member of the board of directors at SSP. Thanks so much for joining the whole weekend, the whole conference, and thanks for joining me for my session today, which I'm calling Three Realms, Three Meditations to Build Power. Um, I titled it that because part of my study and my passion and my love is the Celtic tradition, which is part of my ethnic history. And I wanted to kind of work a little bit. It's a little kind of a vague association, but a little bit with the idea in the Celtic tradition of the three cauldrons of the body. This I won't get into it too much here, but this idea of and you find this idea certainly everywhere. The idea of three major energy centers: the head, the heart, and the belly. And in the Celtic tradition, this is sometimes referred to as the three cauldrons, like the cooking pots, which I find to be a really beautiful and, I don't know, just really visceral image. The idea that each of these cooking pots has a different function. And by having them in balance, they interact with each other and they increase your ability to navigate the world. Anyway, I kind of wanted to work with a little bit of that imagery and working with the three realms, but also, of course, in so much shamanic cosmology, you have the idea of the three realms: the upper world, the lower world, and the middle world. So anyway, that's kind of where the title came from. And these three meditations, or maybe you could call them visualizations, you could even actually probably do them as shamanic journeys if you wanted to. They just kind of attach, each one of them attaches a little bit or vaguely to one of those realms. So it's not a solid connection in that way. But to this word about meditations, I'm not really sure if meditation is quite the right word for, what I'm going to present to you here. I think maybe visualization is a better word, but when I do these meditations, I do them for a fairly extended period of time. I mean, not like hours, but 10 minutes, 15 minutes, sometimes longer for each. So in that way, it becomes kind of a meditation. Well, let's get into it. The first meditation I wanted to offer to you it's really just a cleansing meditation. Among the many, many, many cleansing meditations that exist in the world, and this is just another form of it. But I've found it to be just really helpful for me, and I'll describe it just briefly, and then we'll just do it for a little bit. So the idea here is that working with the breath, the in-breath as coming into the body and actively searching out what my teachers in Peru call hucha, lower energy or discordant energy. Sometimes we could call it negative energy, but I kind of like the definition more of energy that's discordant or heavy or that just doesn't really do you any good. But the idea of the breath as like a spirit helper, and I'll get to kind of more of that in a minute, coming in and actively searching out hucha in the body, collecting it, and then expelling it. And what I like about this idea is it's a little bit, I don't know, maybe it's like a little bit more shamanic or the idea of the breath as a helper rather than just like you're doing this kind of mechanical thing to cleanse. So the basis of this meditation is that on the in-breath, and this meditation has different levels to it and different complexities. We're going to work on just the base one here today, and maybe I'll kind of go into a next level one. But the idea is on the in-breath, you're actually asking the energy of the middle world, the world of nature, where so many allies are, the bird allies and the animals and the fish and the insects, the trees, the plants, all these allies that we have in the world of nature, in the middle world, and other things like mountains and the waters of the lakes and things like that, and Pachamama herself. You're asking on that breath for the allies of nature to join in and use their kind of healing power to come in and search your body for hucha and then expel it. So there's a little structure to do first, and that is think about, and again, with this kind of work, it's you're using your imagination. So ultimately, whatever works for you is the right way. But what I do is I establish kind of in front of me, maybe like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet ahead of me, an entrance into the earth. Oftentimes, I actually see it as a little drain, like a bathtub drain, or something like that. Sometimes it can just be like I don't know, a hole, but there's something about the drain that I kind of like. But you establish this first. You ask, Pachamama, I'm going to be doing this meditation in which I'm going to expel this hucha. I'm going to ask allies of the middle world to come and search it out in my body, and I'm going to expel it. And when it comes out, I'm going to direct it down this drain and down into Pachamama and Mother Earth. Please receive this hucha from me. And I just want to kind of go on a little bit of a tangent here about this. Sometimes when I teach exercises like this, people will have sometimes people have a resistance to delivering the hucha directly into Mother Earth, because they say, "Oh, we're already sending so much poison, into the land, etc., and I don't want to put any more poison, into Mother Earth." And I can't respond to that except kind of bluntly, like that's just kind of a wrong idea. What we consider to be hucha or lower energy, or even poison for us, poisonous energy that we're trying to expel, is not the same for her. This is just energy. It's energy that's not good for us, but it's just raw energy. So when we expel it, we give it to Pachamama. She is delighted to take this down into the matrix of creation, the matrix of her own body, and compost it and make it into nourishment for the next generation of life. Just like, when we have that bucket of rotting stuff on the kitchen counter that we've been throwing into our compost bucket, we take it out of the compost, we dump it in. Like that stuff, if we ate that, yeah, that'd be poison for us. But it's not poison for the compost. It's like, it's gold. So there's that. And also the other idea is that Pachamama wants us to be healthy. She wants us to be clear, free, light, liberated from our hucha. She wants to help us. So if you have any of that question of like, oh, I don't want to, put my poison into Mother Earth, you can let it go. Okay, so you establish some kind of entrance. As I said, I kind of like the idea of a drain. 2 or 3, 4 feet in front of you. You're going to, when you expel the hucha, you're going to direct it right down that drain. So on the in-breath, you're asking the supportive powers of nature to come in and actively move through your body and seek out hucha. What I like about this, and maybe this is just me, but what I like about this is, I do plenty of cleansing exercises, where you ground and, etc. But I love this idea that in some way the middle world, the helpers of the middle world, are not only just coming to like wash me like a shower, but they're also going to be looking for places in me that I may not even be consciously aware of. That's what I really like about this. So, okay. Let me back up and say also, one way that you can put make a variety of this is, like I mentioned about asking all of the powers of the middle world, the supportive powers of the middle world, to help. You can also ask certain powers. So, for example, like if I'm say sitting on the side of a mountain, I could ask just the mountain spirits to help me with this, or I could ask the spirits of the clouds, or like in my backyard where I do things I have some giant trees around. I can just ask the trees. So you can make that the asking for help from the allies. You can make it fairly specific if you wanted to, but I also there's something really beautiful about just saying, any of the powers of the middle world, spirits of the middle world that are willing to help me right now to clear some hoocha, please join in and help me. There's something I find really beautiful about that. Okay, so on the in-breath, breath through the nose, and you can visualize this healing, supportive power coming from the middle world, through your nose, down all the way into your belly. And then this is where it gets a little bit specific for you, because there's a moment there between the inhale and then the exhale where you'll actively ask these powers to move through, in this case, move through the belly, the whole area of the belly, and actively like seek out hoocha, draw it to themselves, draw it back into some kind of a form, and then when you exhale, you can visualize that form coming up out of the mouth and down the drain. So I think like the key of this meditation, what's made it effective for me, is that moment where you're waiting and even visualizing the energies, the helping energies, move through the body and collect this different hoocha stuff that you don't even have to be aware of, you don't have to even know what it is, but just collect it. And so that's the key for me for this meditation. Okay, so let's give this a try, and we're not going to do it for a whole long time, but and also this is the kind of thing where the pace of your breathing is up to you. I think it should be fairly easy. It's not something that don't put a whole lot of pressure on yourself to do the deepest breaths that mankind has ever done. You don't have to hold your breath for longer than professional scuba divers to make sure that it all works, because you're going to continue doing these in breaths and out breaths. But my advice is to hold your breath for just long enough that you can visualize them seeking it out, bringing it back into kind of a place, and then exhale it. And we'll do about 10 or 15 of these breaths. I won't count how long you should breathe or whatever. I'll just do my breathing. You do your own, and don't get caught up with trying to do it like me or whatever, and try not to hyperventilate. So, all right, and I'll kind of talk you through it for the first couple ones as we do it. So, get into a good, comfortable position. Both feet should be on the floor. I like to close my eyes for this just because it helps everything. Scan your body a little bit. Make sure that wherever you might be carrying some tension. I have a habit of raising my shoulders a lot, and I find myself when I do sort of this kind of visualization or something, because I think it's exciting and it's interesting, I'll find myself raising up my shoulders because I'm about to do this interesting, cool thing, and I have to check this out. Make sure that that I'm relaxed in my body, so that there's a clear channel for this going in. So take a moment to just scan your body, relax. You can take a couple of deep breaths, shake it out a little bit. And then kind of bring into awareness the middle world, the world of nature. You're surrounded by all sorts of energies that are willing to help. In my instance right now, I'm sitting in an upstairs room in my house. I'm looking out over my backyard, and there's a couple of really big trees right next to me, so they're in my awareness, and I'll be thinking, okay, they're going to be helping. It's also like a really cloudy and cool autumn day in Minnesota where I live, so I'm going to be asking the spirit of autumn, the spirit of this changing weather, to be in on this. My backyard is kind of my sanctuary with my garden and stuff, so that's always present for me. So I'm going to be inviting the spirit of the garden in to work on this. The birds that fly through. So I'll be just kind of thinking through the allies that will help out on this. So spend just a moment to just connect with the middle world where you are, and see what allies kind of pop up. And whatever pops up into your imagination, my view on this is, that's the ally who is stepping forward and saying, I'll help. So if it pops into your imagination, it's because they're like, yeah, I'll help. So take a moment and call in the powers of the middle world where you are. Okay, so you have some allies on board. There's probably others that maybe haven't even appeared in your imagination, but they're willing to help out too. So you have the support. And your intention here is you're going to ask on the breath that the breath will come in through the nose, down into the belly, and then between breaths, and hold your breath as long as you want, as long as it's comfortable. And for this meditation, not too long. And during that holding of the breath, asking the allies and the breath to actively seek out any kind of hucha, old, useless energy, heavy energy, gather it to itself, and then when you exhale, you can imagine it coming up, out of the mouth, and down the drain that's in front of you. So let's give this a try. As I said, I'll just do my breathing and my work on this, and you can do it at your own pace. So once again, for me, the key of this visualization or meditation is actually, to the degree that you're able, seeing this energy come into you from the middle world, this healing energy and supportive energy from the middle world, seeing it come in and through your nose, and seeing it to some degree moving down in the belly, and seeing it move out and gather, and seeing it when it's ready, because it knows, well, dude is going to have to exhale in a minute, or very quickly, so we better get stuff together. It knows it's time to bring it all together, and it's ready. And then seeing it come up, out, and down into the earth. This is the key for me. It's the visualization part. Let's do just a couple of more with that emphasis on seeing. Another thing that has happened with me, I don't know if it'll happen for you at all, but um, I will often do this visualization, and the air that I see coming up and going out into the Mother Earth down the drain will have a certain tone or color or vibration to it. And so I'll do the meditation for as long as it takes for that to shift. In kind of in a, I guess, in a more mundane way, oftentimes I'll see this outgoing air as sort of brown, like brown smoke, in color. And so I'll do the meditation until it begins to clear, and it just becomes, clear, or like, like breath in the cold air or something. And I'll say, okay, it's pretty clear now. So that's the core practice with this. And we worked with the belly, and you can expand this, and you can then, when you feel like the belly is clear, then you can move on to the heart center, and the same thing. Powers of the middle world come in and help clear the heart and search out, anything in this heart cauldron area that needs to go, gather together, out down the drain, and then you can do the same thing with the head cauldron. So this could be a pretty long meditation. If you really did all three cauldrons, and you really attended to them, it could be a pretty long meditation. It doesn't have to be. This is also something that you can do pretty quickly. And it's like so many things. Once you learn it and do it, you can probably shrink it down into a shorter time period, and it can still be effective for you. But okay, so that's trying to think if there's anything else to really talk about with this meditation. I don't think so. So that's the structure, and so I'm connecting that meditation with the middle world. Okay, good. Shake out a little bit here. Get ready for the next meditation. All right, so this next one is working with what I guess I would call it, working with the head cauldron, or working with sort of the upper realm. And it starts with also kind of a visualization. And this is the image. Above your head, you can just visualize or feel or perceive an energy field that is floating above your head. And this energy field has kind of a purpose to it, and that is that it's like a giant or a really powerful collecting dish. Like those radio antennas that are really, really big, and their whole job is to collect radio signals from far away and focus them. That's kind of what this is. In fact, if you wanted to, you could even look at it or visualize it as like a antenna dish or whatever. I just tend to look at it as a ball of energy. And sometimes people will say that this ball of energy, if you imagine it as being like a radiant blue, it helps. And that's helped me sometimes when I do this. But its job is to kind of reach out to the immensity, to the immensity of the celestial world, the upper world, not the upper world in the sense of the shamanic journey to the upper world. For me, that's a different thing. It's just the celestial world, that world of immense space, the billions of galaxies, the incredible mystery of the space between galaxies and the space between stars, and all that kind of ungraspable mystery, but where this incredible power of creation is. You can call this working with the Sky Father or with Pachatata, if you want to, or the Grandfather Sky. Anyway, the idea is start with this ball of energy above your head, and kind of turn it on. It's like, okay, we're going to work with this. We're going to turn this on, and we're going to, like the beacon is on. And you can visualize or imagine it accepting the energy I'll call it wisdom, because this connects to in that Celtic structure of the three cauldrons of the body. This cauldron, the head cauldron, is said to be the cauldron where the spirits or the Great Spirit pour down their wisdom into the head cauldron. So I really think of this as less like a healing and more like asking for wisdom to be drawn down from the immensity and filtered through this energy ball, or this, the antenna or whatever, filtered, condensed, and then distributed down into me in the right amount, which I think is a kind of a key phrase, because we're just little human beings, and we don't really want to open the valve to the great immensity and say pour it all in at once, because it, nobody wants that. We want to keep living in the body for as long as we can. So we're acknowledging and asking this ball of energy to gather what the grandfather spirit, the sky spirit, Pachatata, gather what it wants to deliver to us at this time, gather together, condense it, and then distribute it. And I actually kind of think of it like almost like a drip, almost like a drip coffee pot, where it drips it down through the crown chakra, and then it lodges momentarily in the head cauldron, and whatever, like, I don't want to impose imagery on you, so like whatever you might have happen when the drip of wisdom comes into the head cauldron, let that happen, and then allow it to move down the body, and activate the heart cauldron, and allow it to drip down or flow down into the belly cauldron, and let it activate that. So it starts with the head cauldron, and works on that in whatever way that you perceive that. And then when you're ready, you can let it or ask it to continue its path down into the heart cauldron and work on that, bringing wisdom, and then down into the belly and bringing wisdom there. And so once you get this kind of flow or dripping going, then it's just a matter of letting it happen for as long as you feel like it's necessary, or for as long as it says it's necessary. Sometimes the immensity, the spirit, will say you're all done. Sometimes you're just like, I think I've done this enough. So it's really simple in its approach, and just kind of silence. So we'll set this up, and then we'll just work it for a couple of minutes, and see where it goes. So once again, feet on the floor, check your body out, make sure that tension or if you're holding some tension or whatever in your body, try to let it go. You can take a couple of breaths in to help your body relax. You can talk to your body too. You can say, hey body, we're going to do this practice of calling in some wisdom, so I want you to be open, and don't be afraid. I know what I'm doing. I'm calling in wisdom because I want to live with more wisdom. I want to live with a few more drops of wisdom today. Help me through the world. So dear body, open up, don't be afraid, everything's good, become open. Good. So then, in whatever way it appears to you or makes sense to you, activate this energy field above your head. Try to visualize it or imagine it in whatever way it might appear to you. As I said earlier, sometimes people say it's helpful to imagine it as a radiant blue ball of light. And then imagine that you're turning it on and saying, turn on, and begin to collect, actively collect this energy from the immensity. And then to the degree that you want or whatever, you can maybe visualize or perceive the energy pouring in to this little container, this little cauldron above your head, pouring in. And when the time is right, it will just start to drip or flow this energy down into the head. Let it do its work there, and then let it flow down into the heart. Let it do its work there. It'll flow down. Let it do its work there. Let's just give it a try. Okay, good, good. A couple of things more about that particular meditation. One is what I like about that one and all three of these, and what I like about shamanism, is that, for me anyway, like when I'm imagining that drop coming down, and then there'll be a moment where I'll be in expectation of something amazing should happen. Like when that drop falls into my head cauldron, something amazing should happen. I should feel something. I should have a something, and so I'm aware of that feeling of expectation. And what I want to just kind of reiterate to you or emphasize to you is let go of that expectation. You don't have to have anything happen for this meditation to be effective. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to see it. You don't have to feel it. Oftentimes I do, like just then, the moment that for me, that drop came into the head, I felt like this kind of dizziness, and I felt my head light up. Um, you don't have to do that, and please don't compare yourself to anything that you're imagining or anyone else that you're imagining. Well, probably this guy is having their whole, head light up into a bouquet of flowers or whatever. Don't worry about anyone else, and don't worry about experiencing anything. Just ask for this medicine to be poured down. And I'll tell you where this particular meditation came from. Certainly people teach this kind of meditation in all kinds of forms. I mean, it's not like it's, that unique. But where this came from for me was during a medicine ceremony many years ago. And I'll just give you this image in case it might be helpful for you. For me, what happened was the sky opened, and the who I call the grandfather and grandmother of the stars appeared to me, and they actually it was actually the grandmother who dipped a little ladle in like kind of a, well, I call it the milk of the stars, and she dripped that milk of the stars down, and that's why I use this drip energy, because she dripped it down. So if you want to, you could use an image like that of the grandfather and grandmother of the stars pouring what I call the milk of the stars down. That makes it kind of a more a beautiful and poetic image, and maybe even a little less intellectual or something than just this other image that I use. But so feel free to use that image, or maybe it would be good if you wanted to use that image, do a little prayer work in advance and ask, hey, grandmother and grandfather of the stars, dude on Zoom said this is how it can work, and could it work like that for me? Ask their permission and ask them to step up and do it for you if they're willing. So anyway, if that image is helpful, I hope it might be. Okay. So there's a third meditation I want to offer you. And I look at this as working with what in the Celtic world is called the Great Sea, which is kind of vaguely maybe comparable to what we call the lower world, in some shamanic journeying structures, but not really. The Great Sea is not just the element water, it's not just the ocean. It's really the realm of pre-manifested reality. It's that place of pure potentiality. Some people might call it, the quantum field, or the quantum flux, or the dreamscape. The creator's dreamscape. Whatever you want to call it, but I perceive it as the Great Sea, because that's how the Celts have kind of named it. But also, for me, that image is important because, once again, this particular meditation, and as I said before, these meditations are not unique. People teach them, in all sorts of different forms. But for me, this meditation came to me out of another bit of work in Peru, on one of the dietas that I've done in Peru. And the plant that I was dieting gave me this particular meditation to work on. Actually, just to kind of be upfront, this is the first time I've ever mentioned this in teaching this meditation, that it came from a dieta and that it came from the plants. But I just thought I would bring that forward. Again, this kind of begins with a visualization, and I'll offer you this image, but as you work with it, it's going to become your own image, and it should. So don't try to kind of strap yourself to the image that I give you. This is just the experience that I had. But once you work with this, however it shifts and becomes yours is good. So for me, this image is basically nighttime, and actually even part of this could be sort of a shamanic journey. But what happened for me was this plant spirit kind of like whisked me out to the middle of the ocean, the middle of the cosmic ocean, where like a pillar of rock is jutting out of the ocean. It has a flat top and placed me there. So, but the basic idea here is that like you are on a stable place, but you're surrounded by the cosmic sea, by the sea of pre-creation, by the sea of pure potentiality, out of which everything that comes into this world arises. So it's a really potent place, but it's just immense water, rising and falling, maybe some wave crests, etc. I see it as not quite like dark night, but maybe more like late dusk, where it's dark enough that it has that kind of dark ocean feel, but you can still see the wave crests and things like that. So the core of this meditation is, as I understand it from what the plants were trying to teach me, is to come into a kind of a more direct and maybe less intellectual relationship or understanding or experience with this sea of creation, the great sea of creation. And the way that this meditation or experience has gone for me, and then I've used it many times, is just to observe the sea and observe its rising and falling, and that kind of beauty, kind of rhythmic quality to it, rhythmic in kind of many ways. But occasionally the wave crest will come up, and it takes a form. Sometimes it even takes a form of the white cap, or it'll roll over a little bit, and then it moves back into the whole, right? So all through this great sea of creation is wave crest coming into form, momentarily, resting, delighting in their form, and then back, into the whole. And I find it to be very, relaxing and mysterious, maybe even a little terrifying in some ways. So that's the first step, is to kind of place yourself there and become, familiar with it, and let yourself kind of experience, the great sea. And understanding that, that what you're doing is, placing yourself, before anything. Not so much, like back in time, but at every moment in time, we are before everything. Every moment is the next wave crest. So every moment we're alive, we're connected to this great sea of pre-manifestation, in which the next iteration is about to rise up and be formed and then flow back in. So it's not like going back in time. Anyway, okay, so that's the image. But the practice is this. This is hard for me to explain. As you're perceiving different wave crests come up, this is just an opening in yourself, and maybe there's a prayer underneath this, to the spirit of the great sea, to the great spirit, to help me come into a more direct experience of how things rise up, take form, delight in their form momentarily, and then inevitably and with the same delight move back into the whole. And so what has happened for me in this meditation is, the wave crests are there, and then I'll watch a certain wave crest, it will come up, and it will become something that I know. Like, for example, one time it's the Empire State Building in New York, comes up, it's the Empire State Building. It delights in its form for a while, moves back into form. And then I'll watch for a while, another wave crest will come up, and as I remember, the wave crest came up, and it was, the wolf, and it delighted in its form for a while, and then back into, into the great expanse. And so watching these wave crests form, come into the delight of their form, the fullness of their form, coming into their fullness, the fullness of their skills, of their capacity of their destiny, of their life task, and living it, and then moving back into the great form. So, in the experience that I had that the plants taught me, this happened several times. This came up and vanished. This came up and vanished. This came up and vanished. And then it came time for me to watch myself come up out of the great sea, take the form that I think of as me, delight in its form, reach its fullness of capacity, of skills, of its life task, delighting in all of that, and then delighting in the completion of that and moving back into the form. So if there's any advice I'd give about working through this, it would be allow yourself to have 4 or 5 or 6 or even more other things appear and vanish before you come into the picture. And then after you come into the picture, you can work some more and have some other things come up. It's very, very wide open, just like the sea of pre-creation is wide open. So that's it in a nutshell. So let's try this meditation. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use the drum here. And I'm just going to drum kind of slowly, so it's not, exactly like a shamanic journey drum. It'll just be kind of slow like this. And so just place yourself, once again, move into a good centered place, feet on the floor, tension out of the body. Take a couple of breaths to center yourself. And prepare yourself to be, if you want to use that rocky pillar jutting out of the ocean as your landing place, that's fine. If something else comes up for you that is better, that's fine too. I think there's a value in it being a steady place. For example, like one time I was trying to do this and I thought, well, I'll just like float above the sea, or like I'll ride the back of a bird above the sea. But I found that it's very, very helpful to be somewhere that's rooted and stable and not in motion. So like not floating above. So I'll just advise you to do that. So locate yourself, and if you need to, or if you want to, journey to that place, you can do that. Or if you just want to kind of locate yourself there. And then I'm just going to drum for, a couple of minutes, three or 4 minutes, and then you can let yourself move through that visualization and just see how it works for you. All right, good. Actually, you know what? I'm going to start this with a little bit of a song, just a little song to the Great Sea to help you all out. And then when I'm done singing, I'll just keep drumming. Madre abuelita, Madre abuelita, abre, abre visiones, abre. Madre abuelita, Madre abuelita, abuelita océano, abre, abre visión, ayúdanos, ayúdanos. Madre, Madre, misterio, enseñarnos, océano anti. yeah, 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 do, 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 re, yeah. Hey, 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 hey. All right. When you're ready, you can come back to this place, the world of post creation, the world of delighting in your form, delighting in your fullness, and in your building of your skills, moving along on your life task. All right, good. Well, that's the three meditations I wanted to teach you. We have a few minutes, so I'm going to turn on the little Q&A thing here. No, I think what I do is I say to you, if you have a question, you can click on Q&A, and then Lally will come on, and is that right?
That
They
is
click
right.
on,
That is right. Yes.
you
Yes.
click on Q&A, and then type it in or whatever, and then she will say the question out loud if you have one, and I'll do my best to respond to it. So, anyone have a question or comment or
Yeah,
anything?
we already have a couple questions. So,
Good.
a question from Elizabeth. Thank you, Jamie, for these beautiful and nourishing meditations. I have two questions. Her first question is, in the upper realm meditation, I found my body wanted to work with the chakras rather than the three realms. Can you comment? And her other question is, oh wait, why don't you answer that and then I'll give you her second
Yeah,
question.
yeah. I've jokingly said over the years that the reason I like this Celtic three cauldron thing is that it's just easier for me to work with cauldrons than seven chakras, and it makes it a lot easier. But there's definitely an alignment there. So if you are used to working with the chakras, absolutely, same thing. There's just something that I've found. Maybe it's just because I love the Celtic tradition, and so I'm trying to follow the structures there. But I love the three energy centers. But absolutely, if you're called to work with the chakras, go at it for sure.
Okay, her second question. Is there a point in the meditations where it's important to close the receiving points that we have opened?
Oh, yes, thank you. You know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned that. When you're done with that breathing meditation, close that drain. While we were doing it, I was saying to myself, Jamie, remind them to close the drain. And then I was kind of thinking about the next meditation. So thank you so much for bringing that up. Yeah, close that drain, because you don't want, your dog falling down that drain. So
Okay, great. Thank you. One more question we have here. That song during the last meditation was so beautiful. What is it called?
that is called I Don't Remember What I Sang. Um, it's just I often sing before doing journeys or meditations or whatever, and it's just whatever it was. I don't know what it was. It was in Spanish, or for me, clumsy Spanish. I was asking Mother of the Waters, Madre Agualita, to open our vision. Um, and then later I called her grandmother of the ocean. I just was asking her to open your vision. Um, um, I think that's all I asked. It was just, Mother of the Waters, open our vision, um, and it just came out how it came out. So yeah, but thanks for that though.
Well, that looks like that's the rest of the questions we have. So
All
we'll
right,
leave
good.
that. Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you all so much for being part of this, for letting me teach you these things, and for being part of the conference, and for being members of SSP. So I appreciate your participation and your attention. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Those are beautiful meditations. I can't wait to use them on my own when I'm at home.
Good. All right.
Um, I want to let everyone know that the next session is coming up at 2:30 with Karen and John from Ireland, who are going to talk about Irish shamanic traditions. That link here is in the chat, I believe. And let me see if it's in the chat. We'll be putting that in the chat real soon. And we will also, after their session, we'll go right into the closing ceremony. So when you go to that session, just stay on the link afterwards, and it'll flow right into the closing ceremony, which Jamie will be back for to complete the conference with us in a little while as well. All right, thank you so much.
Bye, everyone. Thanks.